As many of you know, I have been consulting on a range of conventional arms control issues here in Vienna, as well as in capitals. I look forward to continuing those discussions on finding solutions to preserve, to strengthen, and to modernize the conventional arms control regimes here in Europe, of which the Open Skies Treaty is one important pillar. We believe that the three pillars of European arms control have contributed enormously to the security of Europe since the early 1990s. The Open Skies Treaty, of course, the subject of our celebration today, the Vienna document, and the CFE Treaty. Each of these regimes is important and contributes to security and stability in a unique way. When implemented together, the result is greater confidence for all of Europe. It is important that we do everything we can to ensure full implementation of all three pillars of conventional arms control in Europe. Looking back, we can see that we would not be celebrating the success of the Open Skies Treaty today if it weren't for the original introduction of the proposal by President Eisenhower 57 years ago at the Geneva Summit of 1955. In introducing the proposal, President Eisenhower made it clear that the primary objective would be to relieve the world of the great fear of surprise and devastating attack. Although the Open Skies idea was not accepted at the time, it did plant the seeds of openness and transparency that were later harvested by all of us. President George H.W. Bush reintroduced the concept of open skies on May 12, 1989, in the waning days of the Cold War, just 6 months before the Berlin Wall came down. Just a few days earlier, Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney encouraged him to expand the proposal from a bilateral approach to one that included entire memberships of the NATO alliance and the Warsaw Pact. It is therefore quite fitting that we have come together today through the involvement of Hungary and Canada, partners who were instrumental in launching the treaty. During the Open Skies Conference the following month in Ottawa, former Secretary of State James Baker noted that the dramatic events of the preceding months had given Open Skies new importance as a stabilizing factor in East-West relations. He observed that openness and transparency in military matters offered the most direct path to greater predictability and reduced risk of inadvertent war, and that Open Skies was potentially the most ambitious measure to build confidence ever undertaken. While much has happened under the treaty and much has been accomplished, its potential, in our view, has not yet been fully tapped. Extending the Open Skies concept to the OSCE partners is an idea to be explored. Parties need to upgrade digital sensors to digital sensors as soon as possible, and application of the results should be used to address a wider range of transnational threats and verification challenges. The biggest single challenge we face for the continued success of the treaty is the future availability of resources. The treaty will only be as good as the states parties make it, so we urge all parties to redouble their efforts to modernize the treaty, to allow for the use of new technologies and ensure sufficient assets for future operations. Ongoing implementation of the Open Skies Treaty is essential to meet our shared objectives. We want to see the treaty thrive into the future, and I invite you to join me in continuing to develop its impressive legacy. Thank you very much once again for inviting me here to speak today. It's a huge honor as well as pleasure. We look forward to working with you to develop and modernize the treaty and to really take it on into the next century with successes from year to year, year in and year out. Thank you very much for your attention.